Yo, what is up, beautiful brothers? The topic was failure. And so today there was a quote unquote failure as no one showed up. I just want to talk to you brothers and open up a conversation around failure and how that looks, how it's played out in my life, that how we can use failure, how we can embrace failure to grow. So looking into and what I call sifting for the gold, the very first thing I came to was like ownership as a business. Of like this past 10 days since the BB retreat, majority of my team has gone down with COVID. And so that has like spread us thin. Within that spreading thin, conversations and accountability and the energy subsides. Another thing that we also realize is that my biggest thing is effort is reflected from leadership. As leaders, if we're being down and the people that are steering the ship and there's communication and there's a new season about to start, there's people entering and exiting, there can be this chaos and people don't know what's going on. How then can we spark this motivation and this excitement to get back in the game, to be wanting to be on this call, to finding a way out of no way once a month to show up here? And so that for me answers like we need to value it. If we don't value something, we won't show up for it. Are you valuing DSM? Are you valuing this circle? Are you valuing working on yourself? Are you valuing your commitments? And I want to open up a transparent and open discussion around this. Don't think that you can't say like, hey man, I don't feel like there's value here anymore. I'm not excited about this anymore. Because as a business owner, as a brother, like we're open to that. And so if there's that kind of feedback, we just be innovative, we change, we grow, we evolve. So we want to serve you, this community, as best as possible. So it may have just been a beautiful coincidence that everyone was super busy today. And so we're going to get back into this flow and this routine and just spark this fire again. And that all comes down from leadership down. And so we're all here, we're all showing up. So my biggest failure one of the biggest failures I had was leaving construction and then doing this, leaving construction and then becoming a business owner. The failure was financially because I had a really good salary. So it was like 120K a year plus all the benefits. And so I had free fuel, a car, all the phone, all that kind of stuff. So I had like really low bills plus 120K guaranteed. And so I left that, created an adventure business. And the first thing we created was a program. My partner and I created a program. Not knowing anything about business, it failed. I only had one person sign up. And it was like, when this did well and they made that amount of money, it would last me this amount of time, then I could build the next thing. But I didn't know about business. And so like, it really affected me. It hit me so hard that I'd taken this risk, I'd taken this jump, and it just fell flat on its face. And the failure was like, I need money to pay for the mortgage. And so I ended up having 3 part-time jobs. I was towing caravans, went from like Central Coast to Gold Coast, and I was back on the screed, concreting, which was this other failure. Like I looked at that as a failure. So I've gone from a boss to now back to labouring. And then I worked 1 day a week in the tourism industry. But at the same time I had a coach. And so I was really down the dumps and I was like feeling like a failure, feeling like I'd lost. It was like super massive, pain and sorrow. But yeah, what he helped me with was my mindset. When I started sifting for the gold, like I really found this beautiful sense of pride and acknowledgement that I was brave enough to jump and try, and then also courageous enough and willing enough to find a way to know way to feed my family, that nothing was below me. Because when that failure hit, I felt like that if I was back on the screen, that was a failure. There's another way to look at that. Like if we change the meaning, we can instantly change the feeling. I was still providing for my family. Now, another layer to the failure was that the concreters wanted me to work full time, and I didn't want to work full time because I was wanting to create my own business, wanted that time to build everything I wanted to build and learn about business. And so I had to go through 6 different companies. So 6 failures is 6 no's until I got a yes. But through all of those no's, I started looking at the pitch and the delivery. So by the time I got to the 7th dude, the way I delivered the message, it landed, man, and it worked. And so this dude was giving me good cash and I was able to pick and choose the days that I wanted. It was amazing. Where did that construct come from? That I looked at failure was a negative thing. I look at my childhood, it was like if I didn't win at sport, and there was failure. I didn't have eldership or mentors within my sporting teams because I was super competitive. And so if I wasn't first, I didn't win. And so it was like there was no one taught me about celebrating the process and celebrating the man that I become in that journey. It was always about the result, not about who I became. And so that's where I created this belief around what failure was. Now, the more that I look into, especially being an entrepreneur, especially being a father, especially being in a relationship, committed relationship, is that these moments when it doesn't work out is the biggest moments for growth. So the beauty in like that failure and the bottom of the barrel and the pits is we now have a reference point. An example of this within our family is, as a kid, I never had blueberries, ever. They were way too expensive. Yet we have three punnets of them in our fridge at all times, and they're $5 a hit. And so that is an expensive, quote unquote, it's not really for us, but like for some people it is, an expensive staple diet. Like, this is just food. I remember like we didn't really have many brand new things, whereas now I want to have like give my kids the best of everything because of what I didn't have. So within that failure, I've built this grit, this determination to do and succeed more. Now, a lot of the time also where that feeling of failure comes from, it comes from the goalpost that we set, or we believe that we've set, of what success means. Because if we're not first, we're last. If we don't hit this, it's a failure. Now, the biggest thing is that success is who has set that bar or the goalpost for success. Is it what your parents think as success means, what the schooling system said was success, what the government system, what society, what your friends, what your partner, and that goalpost is that like they're not your goalpost, and so there's someone else's goalpost, which is always going to leave us room to not hit them, and that failure and that expectation. Now, becoming an entrepreneur has been one of the biggest things of like embracing failure. At the moment, I'm going to be fully transparent with you guys. I'm at a position that I'm about to terminate my marketing agency. As a business, in the past 5 months, I've put $75,000 behind my marketing. And so in the last 3 months, we are still in the black, so we've made a profit, but it's like literally that $75,000 has not increased the profit margin. Is actually I've been making more profit without having a marketing agency, just doing it on my own. So we're at this point, it's just like, man, I was just talking about Dave, my business partner, today, like just before this call, and just like, wow, that's a lot of money. But the thing is, especially we hold each other, then we don't look at it as a failure. Like, what can we learn? What do we want better? What do we want more of? Like, what do we want a marketing agency to do? Everything that we weren't getting with this agency, the next agency has to have that. So we're learning through this failure. And yes, it's a an expensive failure. But in saying that, I've never spent that much money before. So I've actually grown into a business owner that can hold that, withstand that, and spend that, which then has allowed me to be in the conversation that I belong here. Like, there's so many lessons that we can have in everything, man, if we're willing to look at it, and if we're willing to just see that and embrace failure. The retreat we just ran, and so again, it was a failure, so much so, but then I started sifting for all the gold. It was like end of day 2, there was a big group photo, and I stood away on a deck. Now, that was the 10th retreat that I've run in the past few years, and my team have run. I stood back and I heard this quote about a week ago on social media, and they said, if you stand too close to the elephant, all you see is ball bag skin, that you need to step away from the elephant to actually see that it's an elephant. I stepped away from this group. I wasn't part, and it was the very first time I've never been part of a group photo in something I've created. By stepping back, I was actually able to see the elephant that I've created, which is called Bloke's Venture. Now that elephant, because before when I was so close to it, it was me. Now that I step back, I can see the elephant, which is Bloke's Venture. And now that I can see it, that it's Bloke's Venture, that it's not me. Now that I'm out of it as a business, I can now scale that. So we're going to start touring with that. We're going to start taking it overseas with that. So through me getting COVID and having a failure and not being able to do the facilitation how I wanted, I was actually able to level up a divine plan for everything. So stepping back and seeing that is now it's increased my workload, but it's actually now that my mission on this planet is to activate 1 million men by 2025. And so I can't do that alone. When I remember, and Dave is the one that reminds me of this, is like when I declared that 3 years ago in the first Bloke's Venture fire, I remember he saying that he felt very ambitious. The next year when he came back, I said the same prayer. And within that year, we started getting closer. And what he said was, it's now no longer ambitious, because I've seen what he's been able to do in a year. Now it's just like, I'm really intrigued on like how that's going to happen the next year later. And so now it's like, oh yeah, this is fucking happening. Like there's no like, I wonder how that's happening. It's fucking happening. It's going to happen, and I'm going to back that. We're going to do it together. And so now it's all of these opportunities from back 3 years ago when I made that declaration. Like it's going to happen. And it's all happening. Everything's transpiring in such a way that it's like it's happening. Life is happening. It's unfolding because I'm very clear on my what. So this is the thing I want to mention to you guys. Is like, what's your what? What is your mission as a man on this planet? What is that mission? I know I have a really big one. That mission just may not be at that grandest scale, but it still has the most grandest importance. It may be being the most present fucking father you could ever be. It may be marrying your queen. It may be getting a health goal. Just remember, like, it doesn't matter what we're doing. We can still have the fulfillment and that sense of pride, and everything comes within here. It's not about the results, but what is that? The what. And just remember that you don't need to know the how. You just need to know the what, because if the what is what you get to hold in your heart, and then the how we can trust through all of our failures, from all of our lessons, from all of our successes, that's going to happen. And that when we allow that divine intelligence to come through and work for us and show us, it's going to be amazing. It was like 3 nights ago, I was just super insomnia. It was like, I remember looking at my clock, it was like past 1 o'clock in the morning. I still hadn't been to sleep. Every time I shut my eyes, I could just see the map of what I need to do for Blase Venture and how to scale that, and the business model and the structure, and everything just started fucking coming through like 1 in the morning. I started at 10 p.m, but just like for those 3 hours, it's coming through. So I've already seen it here, man. It's coming through. Like I'm not doing that. Not Blase isn't doing that. I'm just allowing it to come through. And I had to get like to a point like I need to shut the off because I'm so tired. I'm still feeling sick. And so now it's really exciting. It's really exciting, and it came through failures, man. It came through failures, and then also just trusting yourself in those failures and embracing those failures. Now, everything I've just mentioned, I didn't do all of this on my own. And I say that because through those failures, it was hard, it was challenging, it was painful. There was so much stuff that I thought that I wasn't good enough, that I should be doing more. And like over the past, especially being an entrepreneur, the past 4 years, I've had to lean on people and talk about those failures and talk that stuff out and nut it out. And the more that I've spoken about these failures and the pain that I'm enduring, I was able to realize that there are people that have already done these things that I want to do, and I can learn from them and help them. They've been coaches, they've been mentors, they've been my partner, they've been my best friend. Always, man, always, my biggest thing is I've had to let go of that energy, because one thing to say that, yeah, embrace failure and everything, but if it's fucking upsetting the nervous system and it's like crippling us, we need to like remove that from the body. And this is what the power of brotherhood's all about, man. And so don't think that through failure it's not going to be painful. Like don't ever think that you have to be so stoic. Like it's okay, but we just don't let those emotions to cripple us. But like if it doesn't work out, it doesn't succeed, we're able to cry. Like man, I remember when I tested positive to COVID that Saturday morning, I bawled my eyes out. I wanted nothing more than to lead those men. It was painful, it hurt, and it was an opportunity for all the team to grow and step up, which they did amazing. But it still sucked. But I didn't allow it to like cripple me. I allowed myself to feel that pain, allowed myself to have that cry, allowed myself to then regroup and then have a team meeting and then just set up a plan and move forward. And so like just know that these emotions that come with failure, I'm not saying to dismiss them, but we just don't allow them to get us into a victim mentality or keep us down. And like not even just 4 years ago, like all the way along that I need support, and so you need support as well. And this I want to echo through this is that we need that support to help us through those failures when we can't see it for ourselves, because sometimes we're so emotionally invested in something that it really sucks. Leaning on each other, talking about our failures, talking about our struggles, talking about our challenges. How do we move through that? This is the biggest thing that I've found from men's work, and it's been amazing in my life. And like Dave, my business partner, man, there's been so many times that I was trying to do business on my own. I didn't want to talk about the pressure of business and finances and everything. And it was been really struggling to like have no one to really grasp that and talk about that challenge, because I don't want to dump that energy on my partner. Whereas with him, man, I just remember one day, it's like, bro, can I just talk, man? I just need, I'm feeling all this pressure, feeling all this fresh stress. I just feel like running away. I feel like I'm failing. And we just spoke it out. Then we ran some numbers, and then after that, it's just like, oh no, we're good. I just needed to get it out of the nervous system and talk about, hey man, I'm feeling pressure. I'm feeling stress. And so yeah, brothers, I'm just embrace failure. Yes, it is going to suck. Just don't let those emotions control you, but allow them to like come through and just keep leaning in. So I hope that this gives you a lot to sit with this coming week. And then on the next, on your next team call, I think it's next Wednesday night, and then you're going to have some more stuff to talk about and be with and explore. So I love you, brothers. Amazing to have you guys in this space. Amazing to have this community. Love you, brothers. Much love. Peace.